Hey everybody, welcome back to the Expeditionary Johnny channel. Hey, today is a impromptu live. It's way too cold to be outside. At least I don't know. I want to. I said let's be responsible. I don't want to encourage people to go outside and risk getting frostbite. It's not that I can't go outdoors. I just think it's probably wise not to go outdoors. Um, hey Al, you are right. It's been so long, brother. I think you've already got the link to this, Al. As you can certainly come on up board here. Let me send you another link. Let's see here, Al. Let me grab over here. Where's that at? Invite. Copy that right there. And Al, here's a link for you, brother. Come on up. And then I believe we've got Mark from Eat Carbs Outdoors. All right, Mark, I think you're ready to come on board. Let me. Here's a link. If you want to kind of jump on into the studio here. But hey, folks, if you guys are if you find this video a little bit later, basically it's cold outside. It's so cold. I think it got down to about 20 below Fahrenheit here. I'm here. I am ready. Well, I just sent you a link in Facebook, Mark. Facebook Messenger. You should be able to click that link to come on into the studio, and we can bring you on up, man. But yeah, it's right now. Last I saw was about 16 below 0 Fahrenheit here. You factor in wind chill, you certainly can get you some frostbite. And I figure I can make videos, but why don't we just sit around and visit for a little bit and see what our friends are up to, see what kind of ideas and stuff we got going on for later this year. Um, I have not had my breakfast, so I apologize. I've got my little bit of yogurt and granola. Oh, they got Al. There's Al. Al, my man. How are you, brother?
Oh, I'm doing good. I had to email myself the link. You sent it through Facebook.
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
No, it's all good. I don't have, like I said, this computer is solely just YouTube. So
All
there's
right,
no Facebook or Instagram, not none of it. It's just YouTube and my video editing. So
very good. And
it's
there's
all
Mark
good.
in the basement. Let's grab Mark right there. Hey,
How's it
Mark.
going?
Oh,
Welcome, brother. Oh, and there's DC Outdoors. Dan, what is going on, brother? If you want, we'd certainly love to have you up here. Let me send you. Here's a little link right there if you want to click on that one. Um, Love to have you up here. But hey, anybody that's just tuning in, it's cold outside. Baby, it's so cold outside. So I was like, hey, let's do the responsible thing. I mean, I think each one of us here, we know how to handle ourselves outdoors. But I think a lot of people, you're risking frostbite out there. So I was like, hey, let's sit and visit, see what's going on in everybody's lives. And I know, Mark, you're heading out here in about an hour or so, aren't you?
uh, depends how motivated I get.
That's that is a big part
I
of
got,
it, man.
I got my bags packed, and the spirit is willing.
Now you just said something that is real important to me. Are you familiar with Jimmy Valvano, former basketball coach like NC State? The
No.
Jimmy V Foundation. He has the when he caught cancer, he gave a speech about you should laugh every day, cry every day. Here comes Dan. Let's get Dan on up there. Morning, Dan.
Morning,
Welcome,
Dad.
brother. How are you,
Guys, how's it
man?
going?
Oh, it's a good day. We're on the warm
I'm good,
side
my
of a
friend.
wall. So,
How are you guys?
I what? Does everybody know
Yeah,
everybody?
no doubt.
Okay.
No,
Yeah,
Dad.
I'm like I think everybody knows everybody here in this crowd here. But Mark just mentioned something. He's got his bags packed, right?
Yep.
And I was just telling somebody about Jimmy Valvano gave a very inspirational speech before he got cancer. For anybody that isn't aware, Jimmy Valvano was the coach at North Carolina State back in the 80s. NC State's upset Houston. They weren't supposed to win that game. And so he went around doing motivational speeches and stuff. And this one in particular, he's out talking to businessmen and talk about the gift of motivation and believing in one another. And he got that from his father, Rocco Valvano, who would not leave the neighborhood. You know, he just a small world. And so when Jimmy first got invited to the tournament, He took him up to his bedroom. He's like, look, there's a suitcase on the floor. Now, Rocco would never go anywhere for anybody. But he goes, what's that for? He goes, I'm coming when you make it the final four. He's like, Dad, we're low seed here. We're not getting anywhere, He goes, no, I believe in you and you're going to do it. And then they ate a meal. Next year, they got invited, got to the next round. Again, Rocco, got my bags packed. I believe in you. So eventually, they went all the way and they won the whole thing. And he said, when his dad passed away, um, then something was missing in his life. And he realized it was that inspiration he got from his dad all the time saying, I believe in you. My bags are packed and I'm coming with you. And so that's kind of motivates me a little bit. I'm like, always send out words of encouragement to others. So, I don't know. That was a time killer. Hopefully that didn't bore you guys too much with that.
No.
So Dan, what are you up to, man? You're not doing a hot tent camp, going out there, going after some doing a little bit of hunting, some quail and stuff. Your cameras, checking your cameras and anything. Dan, can you hear me?
No. I was gonna go out ice fishing yesterday, but when the garage, yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Loud and clear, brother.
Hello.
We hear
Oh,
you.
you guys got me? Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay,
Yeah.
sounds good. Okay, cool. Well, I was
So
gonna,
you were going to go out ice fishing, but no. I think Dan's having a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna head out ice fishing, but the garage door wouldn't even open. It was so cold. So we're -37 Celsius right now today. So too cold to go outside.
Wow, that happened to me yesterday. I had to like grease up the tracks, and then after about a half a dozen or more times, it finally went up. Then my tractor about died on me because of the hydraulic fluid. So I was like, let's put it back in the garage. We ain't doing nothing.
Yeah, when it gets that cold, it's not good to be out in it.
Now, Mark, how make everybody jealous? How warm are you there?
Let's see. Hang on. Let's see what the temperature is. According to Google, it's 17 degrees.
Wouldn't we like a little bit of 17-degree weather?
Well, considering I'm at 30 Fahrenheit, which is like
40.
-4, somewhere around there.
You're 30 Fahrenheit?
Mhm.
Holy cow.
Mhm.
You're supposed to be like North Pole land now.
Well, I told you it warmed up the past couple of days, but today it's starting to drop again. The other day it was actually 40.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was the day I went out on the step and done a few things. Yep.
It's supposed to warm up tomorrow. So.
I don't want to hear about that warming up. No.
I'm a little bummed because I just tested that heated jacket, and wouldn't have this been a good test?
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been a great test.
Yeah. Of course, I would have been there been like my father-in-law. I'm like, I'm not going to say any temperature. So my toes are freezing, but my chest is okay.
Well, you acclimate to your temp to your region though.
Yeah.
So what's cold for me is not maybe not be cold for you guys.
No, I usually get on Chef about that because he's in Arizona, and he's always saying, "Oh, it's cold, it's cold." I say, "It's not cold."
No. I remember. Matter of fact, I remember talking to my friends. He had family in California. Christmas Day, if it was 50 degrees, we were out in short sleeves throwing football and running around. Same temperature in California. Like, oh, it's freezing. It's freezing. Oh, so cold. Oh. All right. So, Dan, you guys going to go get the Chicken King? You think he's going to go get any more grouse soon, or is that season past for you? I think Dan's got a delay here.
Yeah, we're done. The last day of the season is tomorrow.
Oh, bummer deal.
Why can't you get grouse?
Sorry, the last day of the season is tomorrow, and we're just saying in the chat that it's like minus 35 Fahrenheit. So we're hunkering down today. We'll be watching some football and staying in the house where it's warm.
Gosh, that is some serious cold you got going on there, man. But I think it's a responsible thing to do, stay inside. I mean, that's what do you do? Al and I were talking pre-show about some of the stuff he's up to right now on how to prepping uh, for backup plans. It's a lot of us, we normally talk about outdoors. You got your redundancy, like Mark just did a great 13C video on your fire starters and water bottles and everything. It's like in case you get stuck out there longer than planned. But Al, you want to tell a little bit about what you're doing to get your house ready?
Well, I've been looking at it for a long time, people on YouTube and that, but what I've recently started doing was getting into solar power and backup batteries and stuff like that for my house. I right now, I bought a solar panel kit that had the controller and a panel. It was like $75. And I got the battery and lights hooked up. And right now I got lights in almost every single one of my rooms of my house. So if the power goes, I just got the switches to just turn them on like a regular light switch.
Nice.
And they're all LED. So the drain on the battery is minimum. And now I'm looking at two. I'm trying to expand it. I want to get an inverter to hook up so I can put in like a coffee maker or TV, a heater, or just some bigger appliances that I can be able to run and see how long they'll run on the battery power.
I think that's important. Yeah, that's right. Let's blame YouTube. That's right, Dan. Oh, Dan had to take off.
Oh,
So,
He said he's going to try a different computer.
yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully he'll be back. But yeah, let's blame YouTube on it. I think it's important. I mean, it's like I don't even. We're talking about some of the more self-righteous types that like to, what were activist types that are,
mhm.
and they're comfy. They're sitting there with their Starbucks coffee and all their Bluetooth and all that stuff. And I think didn't you say somebody gave you a hard time about getting a cup holder, tray holder,
Yeah,
right?
I was
Oh,
in the drive-thru and the guy was like, I got 3 drinks. And I only got 2 hands and I'm
right,
driving.
yeah.
And he's like,
So,
I said, can I have a tray holder or drink holder?
yeah.
And he looked at me and he said, you should try to save the environment.
It's like here we are, a group of guys that we go out, either rubbing sticks together, ferro rod. I was like, we're just doing natural. We do without a lot. Not that we're totally uncomfortable, but I'm like, let's see if you can do half the stuff we do, guys.
When
How does having a tray hurt the environment?
he was saying it was going to end up in a landfill, he said and I looked at him and I said, boy, I'm trying to save a landfill here.
Yeah.
Do you know how much our government, at least in the U.S., dumps in the ocean, dumps in the ground
I
every
know.
day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrible. Well,
Give me a break. Oh my God, a tray!
yeah,
Look out, it's a tray.
which is made from recycled materials
Yep.
and it's going to break down. Now, Al, you and I were talking a little bit earlier about the Lone Show and then Bear Grylls Island.
Yeah.
Both of those, if garbage comes up on the shore, you find it.
They use it.
They use it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one I was watching. The guy came across a whole bunch of tin cans. He made a stove out of them. And he made a funnel out of the tin cans and he had the stove and
oh yeah, he put the clay out. That was awesome.
the clay
That
all
was
over.
so
Yeah, I mean, like,
impressive.
that was a fantastic use of
Right.
trash.
Good morning, George. Mark, you familiar with 805 Barbecue Junkie?
Morning.
George does barbecue. Obviously, he's down. I think in Arizona. He's George. He's right now. He's focusing on family. That dude does some of the best visuals. He'll do this Kenko rotisserie, and you'll just watch that fat rendering,
Well,
dripping
Hang
down.
on, you had me at barbecue. I was barbecue.
Oh man,
Didn't have to
George.
say anything else.
Oh man, he makes some of the
you say barbecue, and I'm in. Just like,
yeah. I love
with
what
you.
he does. I've gotten some of my ideas for cooking from George.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like I made these. He called them chicken bombs. um, where he basically took a jalapeno popper, took a jalapeno, put cream cheese in it,
Yeah.
wrapped the chicken around it, and then put bacon around it, and he grilled it up. Right. So
Yeah.
I was like, can I do that on my firebox? The answer is yes, you can. So I love watching these guys. I think I was watching Keenan uh, um, up in smoke, and he's got the same barbecue setup as I do. And that was kind of inspiration with while I was testing that jacket. Let me make a rack of ribs. And
Oh,
while
yeah.
I'm out there
So,
on the smoker, I'm like, well, if I'm going to be out here, let's do bushcrafting and let's have fun with it, which actually goes back to I got to talk to both of you guys this morning. I'm so tickled. So, but Mark and I were talking about how we draw inspiration from one another,
yeah.
where we get our ideas, which
Mhm.
right now Mark's got me. Mark had Al, if you haven't seen it, Mark, you want to talk about your 13C video? He's got me thinking me doing my own version.
Actually, I got the pack right over there.
Yeah,
So
your chance to talk,
basically,
Mark.
I took the concept of the 10 C's as a Pathfinder school, and I added 3 of my own. So it's care, comfort, and calories. So because you got to eat, and and I never called it the 10 C's of survivability. I called it the 13 C's of camping and hiking. So it's not necessarily for survival, but you could still use it as such. Pretty
Hey,
simple.
Nice.
So
would
when you're
you?
out there, I don't want to be uncomfortable when I'm out in the woods. I mean, God forbid.
Right. Morning, Chef. Chef's out here. Drunken Chef barbecues out there.
Hey,
Yeah,
chef.
I think that's the big thing is the group of us. Whereas we can stay out longer if we wanted. Really, it's about go out for a day or two, and for that period of time, you can carry some extra materials and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But certainly some redundancy. As Mark was showing on his list, he's got some redundancy, which you need. What's the saying? One is none. Or two is one.
Two is
One is
one,
none.
one is none.
Yeah. And so you've really got me thinking. I'm big on Maslow, on hierarchy of needs. I think like the yuppies that you ran across the other day, Al. As far as self actualization, where they're like, save the environment and everything else.
Mhm.
When we go outdoors, we're down at the bottom where it's security, physiological, breathing, water, food, shelter, sleep, things like that. So that's where like most of our kits are revolved around so. So I want to kind of make a video on that one. Hey, there's Chef. Oh, he's saying hi to both of us there. Um, but yeah, I'm having trying to think about different ideas what to do. I'm thinking about doing a solar navigation here pretty soon. Which Mark, you inspired me. You said you weren't real familiar with the compass or ranger beads. Is that right?
I've never used them.
Okay. How about you, Al? You ever?
I've dabbled with a compass and using the sun for navigation and that here and there. The big problem I have with that is the area that I'm in. I know it too well, so it's like
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't even if I was in the dark, I could find my way to where I needed to get. But
Which to me, that's
mm,
part of a
mm,
message. Like, see, I'm blind as a bat, you know, and so I was doing that nav class, and we had to do night navs 2 nights in a row. And the guy could not believe how blind I was. Yeah, he go for. I'm like, stop! I can't see you anymore.
yep,
And he thought it was clear as could be. I'm like, to me, it's a lesson on unless you know it as well as you do, you stay put.
yep.
Wow.
So you got to be be prepared.
And even in knowing the area as well as I do, if once it gets dark, I stay put until morning.
Right. I mean,
Just simply because, as much as you can know an area, there's always that loose rock or that little hole or that little bog
branch.
or that branch in the eye that's going to get you. That you're better off staying put until morning when you can see where you're going.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I almost fell in a creek, and I definitely walked right up to a beaver dam at night. So during the day, we can kind of walk around. You can see, oh, this is a better path to get around all those briars and branches and stuff. And I appreciate that, Chef. He says he'll be listening in.
Yeah,
Um,
and he's going to try to come up in a few minutes.
Outstanding. Um, Here, let me go ahead and drop that little link out there. I don't want. I'm gonna try to keep the panel small, but obviously, trusted friends, come on up.
Yeah.
So, what I was thinking is like, so I'm going out there, and because I'm so blind, I was like, all right, that my partner is really good at his compass. So I'm like, you keep me on line, on point. And so I'm breaking all the briars and branches, and I swear I just about went right into a creek because I couldn't see it in front of me. And oh, that's right, it was raining too. another another good reason not to be out night nabbing. So
Well, you're already wet, so
yeah.
go for a swim.
Oh yeah, we wore our ponchos and it was all fine. I didn't care, but I went there to test myself.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring it up is Groundhog Day is right around the corner, and Mr. Groundhog is afraid of his shadow, right?
Hmm.
So I was like, shadows. You can use those shadows to navigate. So I figure I'm going to do a solar navigation one. It's like how to make a little, basically a board, a shadow board. Figure get yourself oriented using, if you know the time of day or if you got to count your hands or whatever else. But it got me thinking. I'm like, why don't I do that? And here's Dan's back. Let's grab him up here. Welcome back. Hey.
Well,
He's not on a 5-minute delay.
we'll try again. Does this seem better?
Yeah,
Yes.
pretty better.
Yes, it's immediate. No, very good.
Amazing.
So I was just rambling out the mouth again there, Dan. Talking about different ideas, and with Groundhog Day and Groundhog being afraid of his shadow, I'm like, why don't I do a solar nav video using shadows to get ourselves oriented? Just curious, what if you guys are interested in something like that? You guys got any thoughts, ideas, and stuff? Is that something you'd want to do, or you want to see in a video?
Oh, I definitely have a look at it for sure. I don't have enough sun up here at the moment to do anything with, so.
Yeah. Oh, Virginia Bushcrafter. What's going on, brother? How are you?
I am doing wonderful. Can
Oh,
you guys hear me okay?
loud
Yeah.
and clear. Loud and clear.
Hey, good morning, everyone. I heard Johnny's voice, and it's like I got to see this. I got to talk to this guy live.
Oh,
I had
Steven.
to.
Oh man, that's an
So
honor.
excuse my appearance because I just woke up from sleeping on the floor. And I have this thing about sleeping on the floor and the sofa instead of the bed and so forth. But yeah, I haven't heard you in so long, or Jerb, and there's DC. The guy who does all the ice fishing with the great kids and so forth. And it's good to meet Carbs. Yeah, so yeah, I'm just here looking all woolly.
Oh, talking about woolly, man, I get the horse coming out of here. So no wonder you're so comfortable sleeping out there in the bush. There, it's Steven, right?
Yes,
I always call him VB, but it's
yeah,
Steven.
yeah.
But Steven he likes to make primitive shelters. So no wonder you're comfortable out there sleeping out there. If you sleep on the floor,
Yeah. I've always been kind of strange. I have this nice king size bed, but
uh-huh.
I very seldomly sleep in it.
Seriously, and how long has this been going on for? I mean, did the
Oh,
wife get mad at you or what?
no. Probably that's probably one of the reasons why I don't have a wife.
oh, oh
But,
man!
it's been since about the 80s. But
Wow,
honestly,
that long.
honestly,
Long time.
sleep in a bed, it bothers my back for whatever reason. I think I probably need another mattress, but it's like when I'm in a hotel or something, it's like, oh man, what a pleasure. I think it's really just having a softer mattress, but
Right.
yeah, but it's good to see all you guys live.
Absolutely. I don't think we do this enough. I'm like, my schedule's changed from Monday through Friday now,
Uh-huh.
so I miss all of the lives.
Okay.
And so I was like, I've been thinking like, I'm not a live channel, but I would like to do it. And then I was
Mhm.
like, man, it is so cold right now. I think it's almost irresponsible of me to go out and say, all right, I'm going to encourage you guys to go out and risk getting frostbite.
Yeah.
So I was like, why don't we let's huddle up? Let's tell stories, man.
Well,
I wouldn't
actually,
go out anyway.
yeah, I was supposed to go out today because I wanted to feature this mossy oak knife. I have this thing about whenever I go out, I like to take a different cutting tool.
Hmm.
But unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, I'm going to be traveling to Texas this week. So it's like I really need to stay home and start getting all my stuff together. Oh yeah, that's it. The mossy oak.
Here,
Yeah.
let's bigify Al there.
Yeah.
No, and I'm back there. I clicked the wrong button.
That's not
Yeah.
how you bigify someone, Johnny.
No.
Yeah, mossy oak.
Nice.
Nice.
I actually have another set of these that have the camo on the handles.
Yeah, yeah. Those are nice. They're nice.
Yeah.
Now, Stephen, you've been doing several reviews on different pieces of gear. Is that coming out of your back pocket or people
Well,
saying,
it's doing a lot of studying because
Okay.
I want to be very, very thorough.
yes,
It's just like I'm going to do one today, and it's going to be on the essential tools of bushcrafting. There are
Okay.
five essential tools, which one's being a knife, an axe or a hatchet, a saw, a compass, and a fire striker.
yeah.
With those 5 tools, and it's not. I'm not going to speak on gear, but with those 5 tools, I mean, those are tools that are going to help you build your shelter, build a fire, trap, hunt, and things of that nature. So,
I like it. I like it. I'm really enjoying the direction you're taking your channel, Stephen. Because
thank you.
it's to me that's been part of my theme is removing obstacles.
Hmm.
So sometimes people talk in such absolutes. You
Hmm.
have to do this piece of equipment. You have to do it this way. And I love it. It's like, no, it's a buffet style, folks.
Yeah.
Go through and find out what it is that works for you. What is it you're trying to do? And I'm like, you're going out there. This is what I've got, and this is what I'm using it for. I love that.
Yeah, I had a conversation with a guy yesterday. We met at Panera Bread, and we were just speaking on. We just wanted to talk on knife sharpening.
Uh huh.
So we were talking about all the different styles of blade: the convex, the hollow grind, the saber grind. What is the convex, the saber, the hollow grind, and the Scandinavian grind. And basically, what I was saying to him, what is the purpose? What is your purpose? And that determines what I'm going to take. But
Yes.
one thing that I always take with me is a Scandinavian grind knife. Always. Even though I may have a hatchet or an axe or a large knife, a Scandinavian grind knife is always going to help you assist you in doing feather sticks much, much more. However, I am a believer that you should be able. Well, it's good to know how to make feather sticks, even with a hatchet or knife, a saber grind, whatever tool you have in your hand. Try to use it as efficiently as possible.
And Stephen, why? Okay, so like feather sticks, that's a big thing. You're always batoning and making your wood and stuff.
Yeah,
Why does the grind work better for that?
because it has a single angle. It basically starts not even as a flat grind, but it just starts in a V shape. There are no bevels, and it goes directly to a 0 degree. So you can actually just put the knife right next to the wood and just lay it on there flat until it's non-movable, and just easily just carve the feather sticks. So that's and that is actually the bushcraft knife, the Scandi grind. It's great for like details, doing detail work and so forth. And what I've learned is that even when I first started, I was batoning with anything that I had.
Right,
But
right.
now I'm not going to baton with my carbon steel Scandinavian grind knife because that's not its purpose, even though you can. But
Right.
that's why I carry a larger knife and a hatchet or an axe. And I used to didn't take an axe or a hatchet, but I'm finding out now that's my number one go-to. The hatchet, if I have a choice, the hatchet or the axe is going to be my go-to because of the weight of the head
Yeah.
It's a convex grind. It's a very strong knife, very strong edge. So if I only have one thing to choose from, it's going to be my hatchet or an axe, and my second is going to be a kukri knife.
Right. Oh yeah, kukris.
Mhm.
Okay. Any
Yeah,
kukri fans out here? Yeah, you did a review on that one just the other day, didn't you?
yeah,
That
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
That
That's
was,
very nice. That's nice outdoors.
Nice.
now that's a big
There's
one
my
too, right?
Yeah.
DK7.
Oh, what we got here? Let's show Mark
Oh,
here. Let's see if I can bigify without knocking him down. There we go.
BT7. Yeah,
Yep. Love this knife.
very nice. Very nice.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's now the hatchet. I love a hatchet because you really seem to enjoy processing wood for
Oh, I
fire.
love it. I love it.
Same
There's
thing with
nothing like
Mark.
it.
Yeah, Mark and I were talking. He'll just sit there and do fire. Now, poor Al, he has to buy his wood. He's burned all the wood in his olive.
Yeah, well, the last processing, some of the last processing I was doing on the wood, and I cut my leg with my axe, with my hatchet.
Oh man. Ugh.
Oh
You
yeah.
remember that?
Yeah, I
Yes.
remember that. And
Oh man.
you stitch yourself up.
This one.
Oh
Yeah, I didn't have the proper stitches, but now I got the proper stitches, so I don't
There
have
we
to
go.
go anywhere.
There we go.
That was this one.
yeah. So
This is very old. This was Dad's.
yeah, that's a very convex grind. So what type of wood is that? Is it hickory or ash or?
I think it's a hickory handle. Like I said, this is so old, I don't know,
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure it's a hickory handle.
yeah.
Do you
And,
Oh
treat
yeah,
your handle?
yeah.
tr-
That
Do you
just
treat
with
your
the
handle with the oil and stuff?
nope, just with the oils from my hands.
Really?
That's all. Yep.
How
I've
about
never
you,
done.
Steven?
well, my thing is, I don't own a hatchet with a wooden handle.
Hmm.
I had one once before. It was a smaller one, and the head became loose. So now I use strictly S-wing. Now the
Yeah.
S-wing, the head is going to become loose, but it is tubular, and you have to be aware that you can bend it. But if you use it properly, it's going to take a lot to bend it, but using it properly, you're not going to bend it. So the S-wing, I think it's more of a carpentry tool, but I just like it for the reason that I know if I'm ever out there for an extended period of time, that
Yeah,
head is not going to come loose. Yeah,
that's like that type of handle.
yeah, exactly. And that rubberized grip
Yeah.
is really, really nice, especially with gloves.
Yeah, that's what I carry. I got a rubber grip on mine. It's like
Yeah.
now, Dan, you process a fair amount of wood out on your camping trips because you'll stay several days at a time. What are your method? What's your approach?
Sure. Well, if I'm setting up camp, I'm bringing the chainsaw, boys. I'll be honest, I'm not,
You got to, man.
I'm not hand bombing. So I'll, the best is just like I'll kind of drive the back roads looking for some dead standing or dead leaning trees or something that's kind of fall over. Makes it a little easy for me to grab and go. And then I'm, bucking it into lengths about that big. And then I don't even know with what axe. I have one around the corner I could grab, but I don't even know with what it is, man. I'm like the least gear nerd ever. But yeah, I know I had a wooden handle one. So Stephen, to your point, but it was the same story. The head was getting loose, and then the kids had exploded it. They were trying to chop wood, and I think they just had hit it wrong on a log when they were chopping and just blew the handle apart. So I ended up getting one of the, I guess, some sort of synthetic handle on it, which I think is a little bit lighter and probably a little bit more durable, maybe, or at least a little bit less upkeep, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really the jam. And then for the house, we have a wood burner too. But I'll be honest, boys, I was pretty lazy this year and just paid a guy to bring us a bunch of nice dry birch as opposed to dragging some sort of like half sort of ready stuff from the bush that's sizzles. I like it when it just burns nice and hot and doesn't have to sit there and dry out over the coals, especially in the house, right? But
Oh, sure. When I did that barbecue session with the little bushcraft smoker, I bought chunk charcoal. And I already had some wood chunks on there. I'm like, I've already got enough things going for me. I'm like, let's have a good burn and we can concentrate on processing another time. But dude, that's why we earn the money, right? We don't.
Yeah.
It's like so we can enjoy life, So that's
Yeah.
you're not going to get any judgment from me. I did a little mini chainsaw the other day, so
Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I gotta admit though, man, those little chainsaws are super handy because even in the bush when I take down something or take down a tree, I love those little minis just to chew off the
Yeah.
little limbs and stuff like that, as opposed to using the big chainsaw for that or an axe or something. It's just to me, anyways, it's a way more safer approach. So you're not getting something glancing off and making a mess on you, hurting you, right?
Mark, he was the first YouTuber that I saw doing it, and I think the first mini chainsaw he got, I think that brand is gone now. But I was like, I gotta get one of those. Yeah, there we go. Let's
Yeah.
bigify Mark here.
I think I got that one too. Is that the
I
CC?
got
Yes, CC. Apparently, they're still around in like I think the Amazon UK sells them still.
Okay.
But I was really impressed by these little saws. I mean,
Yeah.
they just cut really well.
And it's no big
Yeah,
deal.
you're
I
not
mean,
using a handsaw, but damn, I mean, I processed a lot of firewood with these things.
right.
Yeah.
And if you want to be out there for a while, like Mark, he camps, does campfire cooking a lot. So
Yeah.
the sooner you got your wood processed, or the faster, the sooner you start cooking and lounge around, man.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you're just out camping, why not?
Right. So I
I mean,
love
I
it.
have hand tools too, but
They got their place.
I mean, you're not going to pack this though, because it's just it's too big to pack. But
No, and it's a lot of weight to carry and stuff
if you
like
got
that.
the car nearby, why not?
Right.
I beg to differ. I will pack that saw down in the woods.
There we go. Let me bigify Steve. Hold on, Steve. All right, show us your gut.
Oh,
Here we go.
nice.
Oh, so see, you can choke up on there with that handle. I mean,
Mhm.
with that axe, so you can actually
yeah.
do some carving with that there if need be.
It looks like straight up zombie apocalypse handle there too, Mark. You're ready to roll.
I gotta redo it.
I love it.
I'll bigify it
What's
again. Let's
like
see that handle again there.
Oh, that's awesome.
I gotta pull it all off and redo it.
Mm-hmm.
I think about doing a video on it. Just sand the whole handle down and then recover it.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Would be a good idea, I think, for one of you guys that really love the axe. How about replacing the handle? I've seen other people do. Have you thought about? What do you think, Steven?
That's something I probably would not be able to do.
Oh, come on, you could do it.
I mean, I could do it, but I would still have that second thought. It's like, it's really going to hold up when I get into the bush and really need it,
Yeah.
Right. Well, here's the thing, though. Here's what I love about our size of YouTube channels. We're not like the gods. It's like I have spoken, therefore it is. I'm like, hey, we're going out trying something new, and so let's see how we do and what did I learn from it.
Yeah.
What I think would be more interesting though?
What's that?
Go to like a pawn shop or a secondhand store and just buy the head.
Yes.
And go out in the woods and carve a handle and then mount it.
I think totally, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
I went out and I bought a couple of really cheap axes. They were only a couple of dollars, like $5 each. Got them in a dollar store, and they had those plastic handles with the epoxy in the top of them. So of course that didn't last no time. Yeah. But now I got 2 heads of axes, so I might actually do that with a piece of maple.
Hey, project.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea.
You guys, excuse me. I think my plug came unplugged because my battery is getting low here. So I'm like, I know my laptop's plugged in. So if you guys don't mind, continue your conversation. Let me figure out my power issue.
Yeah, Johnny's kind of an essential piece of this conversation, right? If he goes down, we all go down, I think.
Yeah, we'll all just disappear.
Yeah.
No, but that would probably be a nice little project to do too, making the handle up.
Yeah, you guys just gave me a great idea because then I could feel secure going into the bush, already having an axe, and just take that one and go find a piece of wood and put it in there and try to make the wedge that goes in the middle.
Yep.
To see how it works
from scratch too.
Yeah. So that's a great idea. Great idea.
Actually, I gotta write that down.
I got a load of maple out on my back step too, because I cut down a bunch of the maple trees that were up behind, and they're all about the right size for a handle.
I bought a notepad to write ideas down for videos. I need to write that down, otherwise I will forget.
All right, what was
Yeah.
that idea? I got power, by the way.
He's back.
I'm back.
My idea was going to a thrift shop or a secondhand store and see if you can find a axe head, and then going out in the woods and making your own handle.
Excellent. Oh, the
Yeah.
other one. Yeah, one of my buddies, we went and you can get butcher knives and things like that, El Cheapo at
Yeah.
a dollar. And what about sharpening those up and making a sheath or something like that? I,
Yeah.
I thought about
I
doing
like
that.
it.
I was thinking about doing that, making video out of it, and then making that a giveaway.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Mhm.
like for anybody, it's like, hey, you want a knife? Here you go. I spent $2 on this.
I made fire successfully with a dollar store knife.
There you go. Absolutely. Yeah.
Batoned, feathered, and everything. And I think I even used it as a striker. And it worked. And it was $1. And I still have it.
Oh,
Hey, I actually go out and buy a lot of dollar store stuff.
Yeah. I
Just
have to.
because, I mean, like you can get them little magnesium strips with
Yeah.
the striker on them.
yeah.
I bought the fire starters, the ferro rods that they've had, the little compressed towels. I get them in dollar stores all the time,
Yep.
and they're fantastic when you go. And it's just a little tiny puck. You throw it in water, and now you got a cloth.
Yeah.
Utensils and stuff like that. I mean, like if you're gonna go out and buy a spork, why are you paying $20-$30 for a spork?
Good point.
It doesn't make sense. The dollar store one is going to do the exact same thing as the $20-$30 one.
I've used the dollar store spoon in my kits.
Yeah.
It worked great.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend you don't have to spend a fortune to go out in the woods.
No.
Exactly.
A pot can run you. I mean, I've got a GSI pot I picked up for $10. Tarp you can get for about $10.
Right.
Knife you can get for $1, or you can get a more for $20,
Mm-hmm.
which are great knives. You can buy. I've made a fire kit out of dollar store ingredients.
Mm-hmm.
Cotton.
Oh yeah,
petroleum
cotton
jelly,
Vaseline. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
small little travel containers for I get a bag of them for $1. Very easily to do. It's easy to do.
Hey, what do you think about us each doing like a entry level kit video? Because like one time I actually did used Progresso soup cans and what's the other size? Regular soup cans, right?
Mhm.
And because you can use once you burn off everything, you can oil them up. You can use that as your water cup. You can actually nest your water bottle in there while you're carrying it in the side of your pack. You can obviously cook up your ramen and things like that. I even did like a wood burning gas stove by stacking them up before. What do you guys think? You guys interested in doing something like that?
Yeah, because I just wrote it down.
What I was doing.
Actually, I still have soup cans. I actually did that with a kid once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have
I
them.
did a video on that a long time ago. Turn a soup can into a kettle for
Mm-hmm.
boiling your water and stuff, and
And we
Yeah.
I
talked
turned
earlier
I
about-
turned another one into a little wood stove.
Yeah.
We also talked about making your own stoves, gas stoves.
Yeah.
As well.
Absolutely. Because I'm like, I can see it's like you can either suspend if you put a wire bell or something like
Mhm.
that on that, or if you have to do a rope or whatever else, but you can suspend that over the fire, make a little tripod or a couple racks.
Yeah.
But another chance to make a fire, Stephen, don't you think, brother?
Yeah. You know, the thing that I find with bushcrafting is there is just so many things to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the last time I was out, I wanted to feature the shelter. I had done it before. I actually put it up and then I was going to take it down and then explain it.
Right.
But I was so fixated on using that BK21 that I spent more time off camera just
Yeah.
chopping stuff. And what I did, what I was going to do today, I actually buried some of the charred wood,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I know the ground is soaking wet. So what I wanted to show is that even with this being buried and it's totally wet, because it's charred, it's still going to take a light very well. And
Ooh, that sounds challenging.
yeah. But long as it's charred, I mean, sometimes I go to the same place and I'm looking for the exact same location. So
Yeah.
what I did this time, I marked the tree with some orange Trello tape so
Okay.
that I go back to the same location. But I'm headed to Texas this week, so it's like I better stay here and do the priorities.
You got to, and that's the challenges, man. I mean,
Yeah,
time management. That's why one of my things on my video I always say removing was time. Time's an
yeah,
obstacle. Do you only have a short amount of time? You got a big amount of time. You plan. What do you do when you only got a little bit? So, I'm going to
yeah.
be curious about if you can get that going. So you're talking about a wet piece of char to get lit,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Okay.
It's under the dirt. So when I go to that location, I'm going to dig it out, and
Okay.
it's going to be part of the fire lay. And
Okay.
because I've done it, and so I want to show people that even though the wood it's been burned, it's charred. That's one of the best pieces to use in starting the fire.
You're going to. So you're talking about old coals. Are you thinking you're going to take a ferro rod to it, or you think solar?
Well,
Or
I'm going to probably I try to, if I can, use all natural material.
yeah.
Sometimes because of the moisture and so forth, I use Vaseline or cotton balls or some type
Sure.
of tender starter. But I always take with me some birch bark
Yeah.
and some fat wood. So I'm going to try to start it with that. But especially in the summertime, I like to peel the wood, the bark off the trees and make a tinder bundle. And that's what I prefer to do. But I try to remain as primitive as I can.
Right.
So, but one challenge I haven't done, and I think it's a mind thing, and you do it so well, Johnny, the
Mm.
bow drill.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of practice in on that one.
Yeah, yeah,
You'll get that when you're ready for it. You'll do it.
yeah.
The fact that you are already comfortable processing wood, I'm not too worried about you getting there. My mistake was I was like, remove variables, right? So I was like, I bought wooden dowels at the store and I bought some, I can't remember if I had cedar. No, it wasn't cedar, it was some other wood. And I got the technique down, but I wasn't getting the smoldering ember. So eventually
Hmm.
I did some research and found out those store-bought dowels, they
Hmm.
aren't going to take a timber. They don't fall apart and crumble the way they're supposed to. A lot of smoke, a lot of black soot, but it doesn't smolder. Once I switched wood, it was done in like 30 seconds.
Wow.
So I think I tried 20 times before I got the right materials. Then I was like, dude, I got this thing. And so now I'm super confident with it. Matter of fact, here's one I don't talk about. I'm never going to publish on a video, but I'll tell you guys live here because it's just we're not gonna. It's I'm not gonna have 1,000 views on this one. Let's be honest.
It's just
Uh,
everybody.
so the last bushcraft class I went to, it was bushcraft 101, and I think day one, I'm like, yeah, I'm feeling good. The next day, I'm starting to feel sick and just nose is running and everything. And I'm trying to take, I always keep a little bit of medicine with me. It wears out. And so the next day, they're covering bow drill. And I'm confident in that one, but I feel so bad. Not comfortable enough sitting next to people because I don't want to get sick. So I'm laying out in the grass and they're like, where's John at? I'm like, oh, we're here. And I can't even breathe. And so they're like, okay, here's the instructor. I really respect him a lot. Matter of fact, I'm hoping he can join us later. He was struggling a little bit, but I'm like, no, he's an instructor. Let him do his thing. So eventually it's my turn. They grab me some tulip poplar and it's just deteriorated. And I'm like, gosh, this is really punky. I'm like, can I work with it or not? I'm like, you're used to this. I've done this. I worked with questionable material all the time. So I was like, yeah, you can make it happen. So here I am, just like, eventually, I get a smoldering ember. I put it in my bird's nest. The instructors just knew we wouldn't get a fire for at least an hour, so they left. Right.
Mm.
And so they're coming back, and I'm just standing there holding the bird's nest in the wind, letting it light up. And the Canterbury's like, Tidwell, you got an ember in there? I'm like, yeah. And then the instructor turns to him. He goes, he does this for fun. I was like, yeah. And then had a fire and stuff like that. But that one was a real confidence builder because even when I felt like garbage, um, I was still able to get a fire.
Mhm.
Granted, the material was there. I didn't have to go cut down the trees or look in. They're like, here's some stuff. But you can do it once you decided this is my project, and and that could make a little series,
Yeah.
and if you want, I did this with Gerbs when he did his first bow drill. I was live with him in the background, and I was watching him, and I would tell him a little bit faster, a little bit more. Next thing you know, he got his ember. So if you want a little bit of a digital observation guidance as you do it, I'm happy to help out.
Okay, thank you.
If I
Thank you.
can't be. So, but anyway, I was sitting there thinking, I'm like, there are a lot of things where if we all just kind of share ideas, like Dan, you've got your heavy kit for camping,
Mhm.
for hunting. Would you be interested in saying, hey, I've been collaborating with my friends. Here's what my setup. It's a bit bigger and longer term, so therefore I'm bringing in the chainsaw.
Right,
What do you
right.
think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and it's funny because it's like, man, the I've collected so much crap, boys. Like, it's not even funny. Like, it's too much crap, too much crap. And every now and again, I go through it and I say, I don't need that. I don't need that. And then lo and behold, then I say, oh, geez, I wish I had that smaller tent again. I wish I had that 2-man option again. And then I end up collecting more crap. So before you know it, you have all sorts of stuff. But yeah, like between the big kits or the little kits and all sorts of different stuff, yeah, I think it's would be cool to kind of highlight some of the different ways that we go and enjoy the outdoors. And I think that's half of the fun is to kind of go through the big kit and say, all right, well, what are the things that still make the cut on the little kit, or from the little kit, what are the things I'm still going to keep when I take the big? So it's always a perpetual, kind of changing or rotating or moving of, the gear, right, for the next outing.
Oh yeah, yeah. You'll notice I always have that mini ferrule rod in my keychain. I don't think that's ever going to leave my side.
Yeah.
So Dan has not seen the rest of my room.
No. Oh yeah. Here, let's.
You can see what's here,
guys,
but you can't see the rest of my room. Yeah. I have quite a bit of stuff collected up.
Oh my gosh! Yeah,
This is just stuff people give me.
right.
It's not counting all of my stuff, my sleeping bags, my backpacks. I got like 3 backpacks that go on all the time.
Right.
Let's see. Oh, I'm all plugged into everything. Oh.
I know. Isn't it funny for all us primitive
I got
guys?
all. I got
We got
there.
gloves of tech here.
Backpacks all there. I got my coffee table that the computer is sitting on is actually a chest that's full of camping gear. I have in the next room. There's a cubby hole over the steps that's full of camping gear. I got another cabinet over here with stuff in it, and behind my door, and yeah, I know what it's like to be collecting stuff.
All right, so for me, the deal was if I buy it, I have to use it.
I use everything.
Does anybody have those discussions like how much you use it? It's like my wife's always, "Are you still using this one?"
It's just not all at once. I can't use it all at once. It's too much. I need a pickup truck to go all at once.
That's right.
Well, I've been trying just to get out and rotate everything and use it and then do something else the next time I go out.
Right.
Including knives and cook pots, which I have a whole little storage bin full of different cookware.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of cookware, like you are a big fan of the Stanley Cook kit because earlier we were talking about you don't need to spend a lot of money. Stanley cook kits are cheap.
$20.
Yeah. Now the Stanley mugs that are going around, those aren't cheap, but whatever.
I don't think I have the Stanley mug.
Oh, well, they're hard to find. Everybody's fighting because it's the thing to buy nowadays.
Uh,
But I was like, give me a Stanley cook kit. Those are cheap, but yeah,
the
you
Stanley
like
cook kit, the tall one is it seems like it's better for boiling, but not so much for cooking.
it's tough. It's tough.
Hopefully we lost Al.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be right back. I think he probably had to do something off camera. There he is. He's
I'm
back.
good.
Yeah.
There's this little mess kit. There's a pot. It's got a cup.
Sweet.
Got a lid. Got a frying pan and a plate that I can use for a lid too. I paid $12 for this.
Yeah.
Nice.
Canadian.
Nice.
How how thick is that skillet there? Is that something you got to be
It's
careful to eat?
thin,
It's thin.
but
so you
I've
gotta
had
be
it.
careful.
I've had it on open fires a lot. Like
See,
this is
that
all
look-
open fire.
See, that looks ideal. Are you familiar
Mhm.
with Indian hemlock?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So Quentin, he was trying some very thin skillet with one of the jet boil style burners, which is just a disaster waiting to happen. And people got mad at him because I was like, dude. But it got me thinking. I'm like, a fire where you can control your coals, that would be probably ideal for that type of camp cooking. I'm thinking. Um, I don't know. Yeah, I just love all the different approaches. Like, what are you going for? What do you want to do?
Yeah.
So
I have also something called a heat diffuser. That I
yes,
use on So I haven't tried it yet, but I'm going to do it in my backyard, and that's something I'll take with me when I go to a meetup. Where we're so a heat diffuser.
absolutely. I got a heat diffuser for my stove. I've
Okay.
got all these cast iron pans that I had when I had a gas burning stove.
Mhm.
And this new house, they had a glass top one. You're not supposed to put the cast iron on there. You scratch it up and you break it. So I put a diffuser and you get that nice steady heat. So
Yeah.
I can still use my cast iron. But outdoors, I've got a wider burner, because I get more heat control, stuff like that.
Mhm.
Now, Dan, you normally do. I know you got a stove inside there. What do you cook on that, or normally you do like gas stoves, don't you?
Yeah, I don't cook too much in the tent. I come from the mindset of, when there's bears and critters bigger than you in the woods, you don't really cook where you're sleeping. So I mean, I might cheat that a little bit, like November, December, whatever, where most of the bears are kind of hunkered down. But
No.
by that, I'm still not going to cook bacon in the hot tent. Like maybe I'll heat up some water, heat up a can of soup, something like that. But the really even boiling water is gnarly in there because it just releases so much humidity that then just freezes and creates problems for you later, right? Because then when you're putting this tent away, she's just full of ice, right? Because it just, you can't get rid of it after, and then you're trying to set it up in the house to dry it out. So yeah, I tend to still cook outside, either on the Coleman stove. I learned here that the little isobutane canisters, they don't work for me after October. They're just
it gets too cold, right?
Yeah, too cold. So Coleman and the little 1 pound bottles tend to last reasonably well for me. So kind of combination usually of that. But I didn't do as much hunting camping as usual because we were so spoiled this year with really, really, really good weather up until literally after Christmas. So, the nice thing is I was hunting, I don't know, hour and a bit away from home. So I would just drive. The roads were good. There was no snow, no ice to deal with. So we did a lot of just, get up early and come back late, which I liked. Warm bed was nice, but I think my wife found it more disruptive for me to be shuffling around stuff at 4 a.m. to get out the door and then coming back in and shuffle around stuff at nighttime. Probably should have just been sleeping in the woods, to be honest. But I sure do miss it because it's a really good experience, especially when you get everything set up and it's cozy warm, right?
Right. Hey, change the topic, but before I forget, are you guys familiar with Black Hat Bushcraft? Matt Mercer.
I know who he is.
I don't think so.
He's one of the instructors out at Canterbury's Self-Reliance Outfitters. So anyway, I'm messaging him trying to see if he can join. He might be able to come up later tonight, 8, 9 o'clock Eastern time. He said he'll message me if he can.
Cool.
So I don't know if you guys are up for if something comes up, I'll send you guys messages. Hey, Mark might be open if you guys are up for round 2 later tonight or something like that.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna. You're not making this a 24-hour one again, Johnny, like old time's sake?
Oh,
No, well, his last 24-hour, he lost that.
okay, maybe a 12-hour marathon. I think my wife might even give me fits on that one.
Hey,
Oh,
Tony.
I think that was about the death of me.
I think you had to ban yourself from YouTube for a couple weeks after that. We didn't see hide nor hair of you.
It was
after you
terrible.
pulled that off.
That's when I found out how bad my was it how much of an introvert I am. I can go out and play nice for a while, but eventually I really want to just go to my hole.
Yeah.
And this is partly like I don't mind solo hikes and camping and stuff because I'm just quiet by the fire, having food, and but being in front of the camera that long, eventually it got my stomach so wrecked I could barely even cross the finish line there at the end.
It was tough last going off.
It was bad, and so it was just one of those things I learned about my body a little bit more, and I was like, wow, no, I'm gonna pass on the 24. But if I can break it up, I don't mind coming back later today. So, but no, I would love to visit. Matt is awesome. Okay, very well skilled. He makes great primitive traps. I tell you, the precision from Matt is super impressive. And so that's kind of what gets me about these instructors. I'm always crude. I always get big chunky things, and you guys jump in if you can. But whenever I make projects, it starts out with something really chunky, and I crudely get through it. But these instructors, they fine tune them. Like, no, this is exactly what I want. And they make it look so clean and so pretty and works so well. I'm like, dang.
Yeah, now on the other side of that, how much time are these instructors putting into, like, on a daily basis?
Probably a lot.
Right? Probably a lot more than what we are. That's
they're
why
out.
ours is looking more crude than.
Yeah, they're out there all the time. Now,
yeah.
My bragging point is like being bow drill that I'm so good at it, or proficient at it.
Excellent. He's excellent.
I make a clean kit. So one time I got invited out to a challenge, and the guy turns to me and goes, "You're in." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And so I was like, "Take my time." I was like, once I found everything, and I can't even hold my knife. I'm like, whittle, but ultimately made a really pretty set. And one try, one and done. I won the competition. But it was one of those. I looked at the other kits, so I'm like, okay, yeah, you've done this a time or two. And the same thing with those guys. They're out teaching all the time. They know where the best resources are. It just the trained eye goes, dang, that's some experience there. So impressive. So I don't know. I guess that's why I like watching you guys. Sorry, diarrhea in the mouth again. My apologies.
No, it's your life.
No, it's our lives. This is us hanging out here. So, ideas. So, Mark, you've got a list of ideas out there. Al, I know you got.
Yep, got a whole notepad.
How about you, Stephen and Dan? You guys got a list of things you want to work on?
Yeah, I really want to show how, I really, and I hope it really works. It should work. Dig that wood up and chart and just show people that, hey, this has been underground for some time. No sunlight. And let's see if it's really going to burn.
I think that'll be fun. I know what I was going to, that you had me thinking, because one of the videos I did one time had to do with char, but from a different aspect. It was like, what happens when it's wet outside? All your grass and stuff, you can't find dry kindling materials, right? So even a lighter might be challenged. Bow drill is definitely going to be challenged, right? You might be better off with a piece of char or a few pieces of char, and you let it smolder long enough to dry out the material.
Mhm.
and eventually you get a flame. Now I about and held, I about blew out a lung because I'm down there. I didn't have my pocket bellow. I'm like, and it's just nothing but thick smoke in my face. But eventually I got it. So this could be. I'm interested to see that because that sounds like a challenge there for
Yeah.
you, there, Steve.
Well, it's going to be underground for a while because I'm going to be in Texas until probably like February 19th or so. When I come back, I know that ground is going to be hard and cold. So
Right.
yeah.
That's another element everybody forgets about. If you need heat, well, that item's cold. It's going to take about every bit of the heat, even from a lighter or spark ferro rod. So,
Yeah.
more California is outdoors. It's like I haven't seen California. If you guys don't know, California Outdoors got a good little channel there. Uh, Following them for a little while. So thank you so much for jumping in here. You're certainly welcome to add to the discussion. It's so cold outside right now. Not that we can't go outdoors. We It's probably not the smart thing to do. You can get some freezer burn or frostbite real quick. Although, except for Al, who lives way up north, but somewhere or another has the warmest zone right now of the five of us right now.
It's because of the ocean. That's all. That's the only reason we're warmer here. It's because I'm in the middle of the ocean.
Oh, chef, what's he saying here? Gotta go. Well, chef. Well, yeah, like Mark says, no need to be sorry. Just really appreciate you swinging by there. Um, Everybody, who all here? Anyone not have chef's rubs? Anybody not have SPG from
I
the
haven't
chef?
had it.
You haven't had
Yeah,
it?
neither have I.
Not yet.
It's good
They're
stuff.
very good.
It's
They are
good
very
stuff.
good.
I know we can all add salt and pepper and garlic ourselves, but he's got the right size. I made some bannock the other day, filled bannock, sprinkled that on there when I cooked it up. That's good stuff, man. It
Nice.
really it added an extra texture to it. Which, by the way, anybody else make bannock before?
No.
Couple
I haven't.
times.
A couple times.
So good.
What was your experience like, man?
Huh?
What was your experience like? Did you like it or?
Oh, I love Bannock. I make it all the time, actually. I was just kidding about it a few times. I actually have a whole playlist on my channel with Bannock.
Really? I'm gonna have to go back and check that because I don't think has it been a minute since you've done Bannock?
It's been well, I can't do it every video. I mean,
Right,
people get tired of it after a while, but
right.
Well, it is a carbs product, so I think it would still fit the title, right?
I, I know. I'm waiting for you to make like lasagna. I'm like big old grilled bread, some pizza crust or pizza
I've
something
made
out there.
garlic bread Bannock before.
Yeah. Um, which
There you go.
I don't know. How do you guys deal with the variety? Because if we're going to try to make a weekly video or so, you don't want to be too repetitive, right?
No, I've actually fallen into that pit trap of repetitive videos. In fact, even while I was editing, I got bored. Just like, what am I doing? I'm doing the same shit over and over again. So
Right.
I just hit the brakes and took a step back and said, all right, let's go at it from another angle.
Right. See, like I noticed, like Mark, you were doing Fired Up Friday for a while, and I was doing Fired Up Friday.
Yep.
I eventually pulled out of that because it's the same thing over and over, and I was like,
Yep.
if I'm going out and I can make a fire in my video that's something else. It seems to kind of just I don't know, it defeats the purpose just to make a fire.
Yeah.
Because it's a community thing.
Well,
Like,
I noticed with a lot of channels, and no disrespect to those channels, but they do the same thing all the time. Like,
I agree.
Yeah.
you need variety, more so to keep viewers interested.
Yeah.
Now, how about this? Do you guys ever go back and watch your old videos and go, "Oh, good Lord, what was
Oh
I
yeah,
doing?"
Yeah.
I go back a few years, and I'm just like, oh no, why did I put that in there?
Right.
I should
Hey,
have
wild
edited
man.
here. I should have edited there.
Yeah.
Well,
One of the things that I like about that, with having the older videos and the stuff that I didn't know that I was doing, is it shows the growth of the learning curve that comes along with it.
True.
100%.
It's not like I took classes for how to make YouTube videos.
Right. I've thought about almost making a video on how to find the YouTube channels that you want to. because some people rely on the notification. I've learned I just go to the subscription and I'm like, if it's the notifications or I'm like hide till eventually I'm like, oh, watch later. So when I have more time to watch it, I'm like, I can really dedicate to the ones I'm like, no, I most
Right.
interested in, or that's
I
because
do
it's
it
hard.
for
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah,
Yeah, something that I've thought about is that when I go out there trying to change the redundancies, because you're going to go out there, you're going to build a shelter, you're going to harvest wood, you're going to
yeah,
process, and you're going to make a fire.
right.
But I think what a lot of people don't see is that you can be out there all day and your video is 30 minutes.
Yes.
So and there's so many things to learn as far as bushcrafting. And what I'm studying now is navigation.
Yeah.
Learning to read the compass. But then there's the ranger beads, there's the
Yeah.
topo map, so I want to incorporate that as well as foraging.
Right.
And that's going to be a skill set in and of itself.
Exactly.
Because I'm thinking, if I'm a vegetarian.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
And if I'm out there for a long time, I have to know how to forage.
Yeah.
So, that's you can take so much food, but and it's so I want to incorporate those two things, but I know how to shoot the bearings and so forth, but it's a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn.
I would recommend start with the ranger beads, honestly.
Okay.
Because, all right, so I spent 20 years in the Air Force, and so when I went out, like for survival training, they would issue me a map. And so,
Okay.
and some of these survival classes I've gone to, they have a big enough area and they'll give you a map. In our civilian world, okay, when we go out to national parks, state parks and stuff, there's a sketchy trail map, right?
Right.
But you're not going to get a topographical map. You're not and they're not on the scale at all, right?
Mhm.
So navigating with the compass is harder. So I'm like, unless you make your own map, and that's where if you start learning to read an azimuth, first you need your distance, right? Where am I at? All right.
Mhm.
And so you figure out your pace count, go out 100 meters and come, figure out your pace count and then come back, test it again. Uphill, downhill, you get your average. And so
Mhm.
as you're walking along on your ranger bead, you're going to have 9 on one side and 4 on the other. And so
Mhm.
like mine's 65 paces. I go out 65 paces, I drop a bead. I went 100 meters and then 200, 300, right?
Okay.
I went for a walk on about a 6 mile hike on the road to test it, right? I
Okay.
mapped it out ahead of time on Google Maps to see if my pace was consistent and could I stay vigilant doing that. So anyway, every 5K that you go, so you do your 9 and then on your next 100, hey, you went 1,000, so you drop your bead for your 1,000, right?
Okay.
Eventually you've gone 5K or 3 miles, right?
Okay.
So what you do is, at least my tips, and I got a video on this one out there. You walk along the trail, you keep up your pace count, and you say, I walked 1.6 kilometers. And you jot that down and say, where was I at? I turned right at the fork. I was at the stream. Take notes, right?
Okay.
And
Okay.
then that way you figure out how far you've gone, where you've gotten. You start to recognize those not landmines, landscape,
Landmark.
significant landmarks. Thank you.
Okay.
So anyway, you start getting used to that. You get your pace count, figure out where you're at, and then you can always go backwards. Later for your compass, I would recommend this is where they have the 2 orange bandanas type deal.
Yeah.
Hang
Yeah.
you hang one at your where you're at, and so you
Mm-hmm.
go out as long as you can see your orange bandana. You're not lost.
Right.
You find something significant, and you say, "Oh, okay, this tree stump, whatever it is 100 meters, 200, whatever it is, right?
Okay.
Jot that down. And then if you've got a second bandana, you say, I like this point, tie up another bandana and you go further out. And so as long as you keep vision of that second orange bandana, you can go back to it. Now, if you go beyond that, though, now you got to go back, gather your first bandana, kind of leapfrog it. And you start scouting out your area eventually find your sources of water, where you're going to set up traps, things like that. That could be a great series for you as you're like learning because you're like, I found this field of dandelions that you can eat, right? And
Yeah.
so that might be something you could be a great series. I don't know if that's too much for you, but
Well,
I can see a great series for you doing that, man.
yeah, I think that's good because you kind of you don't want to continuously, at least I don't want to continuously go to the same general areas all the time. It's like,
Yes.
what happens if you go somewhere and they drop you off right here, and you got to find out where you are. And, I'm looking for that type of adventure, but I'm not there yet.
Right. But you'll get, I mean, opportunities come up. It took me several years to get just down on the the Ozark Trail of Missouri just to do an overnighter.
Mm,
Life is so darn busy.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. Yeah.
okay. So, but anyway, that's something you might think about. Oh, and when you first jumped on, I'm going to do a solar navigation video for Groundhog Day. Um, all right. Oh, and I need ideas because I want this as fun and silly as possible. All right. So, Groundhog's scared of his shadow, right? What if I do
Mm.
a Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean type character, running away for the intro on that one, and then say, all right, now let's start using the sun to navigate. I mean, any thoughts on that one? Or is that too stupid?
No, I love it, man.
No, well, you got the water behind you too that you can use.
Mhm.
Totally.
Like you're coming off of the pirate ship.
Well, I was even gonna do like if I could put a bandana on there, I was like find a right hat and do is like, all right, is it since we all have a magical compass, if you think about it enough, whisper in somebody's ears, think about where you want to go, and this compass will show you the way.
It points to what you want, not where not north.
Right. So I was thinking about doing that at the beginning. And say,
Magnet
okay,
and put under your compass while you're looking at it. So it's going.
right. So, or the idea. How about the purposes? Like, which direction are we going? Somebody can quickly look up the shadows. Like, well, that's north. Oh, we're heading west or whatever. Any guys? Can you guys do that? You think that would be a good discussion in a video? What do you think? Uh, oh, Wild Man's got. Oh, just put up. I shared a video there for dicking around outdoors. Looks like there. So, um, anyway, sorry, just throwing out ideas. Which, by the way, you guys got any ideas you want to share? Like, obviously, Steven's gonna go digging up some old
Yeah.
wet coals and make a fire
Well,
out of it. Anybody else?
I'm planning on turning an old boiler into a wood stove, like a
Ooh,
stainless steel boiler.
okay.
Oh, cool.
And I think I'm going to replace my fire pit out on my step with the boiler stove.
Nice.
Nice. Now you said what was it? Steven was talking about the evolution of his camp and stuff, and
Mm.
which got me thinking, Al, did you know as you were building your first camp, how much did you learn, and how much do you think the audience liked the progression of that? And would you go back and do the same thing, or would you mix things up now?
No, I think I do it the way I done it actually, because when I was young, I used to go out making camps and stuff like that into the woods and stuff. But for years, and like I'm talking 10, 20 years since I was in the woods, I went out and built my first camp again. My first
Right.
camp. Used
Right.
that loosely. But I don't think I would change how I did things because I had to relearn a lot of stuff, like support structures for the shelter and different types of thatching and it's just all. It was almost like starting from the beginning again and working my way, even though I had knowledge of what I had to do, and it didn't quite look like what was in my head.
Right.
But it came out, and over time you can see the progression of just even my camp that's close to home. You can see the progression of from what I first built to way it is now, and you can see a massive like what was I doing? Like I was just what was I doing?
Right,
And
right,
now it's
totally.
like, okay, now it's a shelter you can sit under and sleep under. And
Right.
but I don't think I would change a big lot of it. I might just add into it some other stuff.
Hey, Devil Dog's in the house. Hey, welcome, buddy. Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, I've got room for one more person on the channel here, and we've got some trusted folks here. So let me go over here. There's an invitation. First come, first serve type deal. Let's see here. Invite. But isn't it, well, I don't know, one of the things I love about YouTubing is that creative aspect.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, I've already been there, done that. Now, what can I add to it? All right, you've already seen me build a shelter and stuff. So I'm like, here's 20, 30 seconds dedicated shelter, fire. Now, what am I doing out here now? Now, normally it's food, and eventually I'm going to run out of food ideas. Um, hey, here comes Tony. Welcome, welcome, Tony.
Hey, Tony.
Hey
How you
guys.
doing? How you doing, brother?
Tony is the perpetual camper.
Yes, he is. But Tony, we were just talking about the evolution of our channels and video making and stuff. So you're always out there. And what's your experience? So, like, do you feel the need to mix it up, or like I noticed you added drones to your footage this last year. How do you like to keep things fresh? Uh-huh.
I'm always moving around, so for me that's kind of easy. Everything I do is different than the last time, so it makes it kind of not similar in performance and everything. Yeah, every year I do some trips that are kind of the same every year, but it's still different every year. I mean, I haven't put out a video in a couple of weeks now because I've been sitting doing the same thing. I don't still need to do a video on the same thing over and over.
Right. Well, how about that? I mean, does anybody ever, when you look back at your old stuff, saying, "Man, I want to do a better job at it," and just say, I'm gonna revisit that one," and then what's your?
I've thought about doing that actually.
Well,
And
one of
then
the things I done even recently is I went to my camp and I tore down one of my things and just rebuilt it.
yeah,
Right, and it's just because it was fine the way it was, but it needed to be done. It
right.
needed to be upgraded, we'll say, because it was an older build, and now I had new ideas that I wanted to put into it. So tear it down, start over again.
I have that same idea, Jerps. I built an A-frame debris shelter, and once it was complete, what's not shown is how many times I bumped my head re-entering it because it was only 3 feet, and I'm like 6 feet,
Yeah,
and I was somewhat too far away from the fire. So by the time you get out of it, you stoke the fire, you go to get back in, you bump your head, you lay down. It's like, oh, I need to go stoke the fire again. So the next time that I do it, I want to make it tall enough that I can stand up in. And so I know that's going to be a long project. And I'm on
right.
public land, so I can't use any paracord since I'm on public land. But I've even checked with the game wardens. They said, yeah, you can leave it up as long as you like, as long as you don't use any paracord or anything like that. So that's something I wanted to do this summer.
Yeah, just make some natural cordage and do it that way.
Yeah.
I was gonna suggest that. I was gonna suggest that. Dicking around outdoors. Good question. Do you guys find that the style of your channel you like to watch are also the ones with the most subscribers? What you guys think?
Sometimes.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I
Anybody?
do.
Anybody?
I do. There's a lot of the channels that I like to watch kind of mirror what I'm doing, and they're like way up there on subscribers.
Oh yeah.
I'd have to say, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I was just gonna say no. I probably disagree. I would say I like to follow. To be honest, I look at this platform almost more as I would, Facebook or Instagram. Like I like to build the connections, and I like to see with what's going on. And I find that when that blows up to a large number, I don't feel like there's that back and forth involvement of me as a viewer and this other person as the.
A lot
So,
less interaction.
There was no interact, like the channels that I'm watching that are bigger, there's no interaction with them at all, really.
Exactly.
They won't even respond to comments.
No, it's hard to get them to respond to anything.
Ask
You
a
know-
question, it falls on deaf ears.
mhm.
Mark and I were talking a little bit before we went live. I got one big channel to follow me briefly, and he's the type. He actually interacted, but it turns out he had thin skin. And it reminded me of, see, Mark. He just recently did that 13C video, and Mark really wanted to get a conversation going on about different gear. You know, why are you doing that? Here's what I'm doing, and which has me inspired, saying, I'm going to do a gear video. And I'm going to say, in the spirit of discussion, and let's see if we can either get feedback on that or it's all of us sharing, because we're our own community. Anyway, the point of that one was that individual, it was thin skin, and he was recommending to dehydrate yourself when going out, in survival. All right, I'm losing people, or are you guys, or am I disappearing? Are you guys okay?
No, your internet probably reset. We're all still here.
I don't think it's the foreign correspondent this time, Johnny. So it's not the guy in the ice fields up in the north.
So, anyway, he was actually suggesting, he's saying, be careful how much water you drink, and because everybody emphasizes stay hydrated. And he was telling some story of a woman in a radio, and I remember this when it happened. She drank too much water, did not let it relieve herself, and eventually she got, poisoned her system and
It was
died.
a radio contest to win
Yeah.
a Nintendo Wii. It was hold your Wii for a Wii.
Yeah.
Oh, God, no.
And she died. She died of water poisoning.
And so I was like, dude, I'm like, I remember that story, and that's not, that's terrible advice to tell people not to push the water when they're out in the water. If anything, you're really, you're probably going to deal with a scarcity. Well, next thing you know, his feelings got hurt, and then he
But when you're out walking and you're carrying gear, doesn't matter if it's 10 pounds or 50 pounds, you're expending a lot of water when you're out walking. Especially, it doesn't matter if it's summer, winter, spring, fall. It doesn't matter. You're going to expend water.
Right, and of course you got to replace the electrolytes. So I'll always carry some of them little Gatorade, little mini packets I can throw in my bottle. Yeah, something like that, But what I've noticed is I will watch anybody. Anybody for ideas. I loyally watch my friends like Dan, Steven, Al, and Mark, Tony. If I see your videos drop, I'm going to watch it. Don't always make a comment, but I'm like, what are you guys up to? And then I love the interaction with what's going on there. Then I'm always looking out in ideas for new ideas. So I love to cook. So I watch a lot of chefs channels. And I'm like, can I do that in the field? I'll watch some hiking videos. I'm like, where are they going? Where do I want to put it on my to-go place? Sometimes I'll do gears, but it was like, I'm always looking for like, what are they doing? I'm like, that sounds fun, because next thing I know, I'll come out with an idea of what else to do. So I would say the bigger channels have been doing it longer, so I think they're already further ahead with ideas. So I watch them a fair amount, but as soon as I go through my subscription list and add to my playlist, I could be watching you guys a long time, and it's a challenge just to watch them and write a comment. So I don't know. That was a long, mixed up answer, but hopefully that makes some type of sense.
Well, see, when I'm watching the bigger channels, there's only probably 2 or 3 that I'll look at that I've watched, because one of them I've watched since he was a small channel.
Yes.
And that's before I was doing YouTube or anything like that. I've been watching him for 15 or 20 years now. So that's one of the bigger channels that I continues to watch.
Right.
I would much rather interact with smaller channels.
Yes.
Yeah.
because you get that interaction. You get people coming up on panels, and like we are here, all gathered together for similar and same reasons,
Right.
and is much better way to meet people.
Right.
These bigger channels, they've already met their people. They're not really looking to add into their
Right.
community of people that they
Right.
got.
They're already busy. Yeah. Now, like right now, I've told you the February 2nd, Groundhog Day, the solar navigation video. I'm just going off on watching nothing but solar nav videos right now. Right? And there's one channel in particular has done a really nice job of it. So I'm watching a lot of them right now. And I'm like, now how am I going to say it in my own words? But I'll do that, but once I get inspiration, I'm like, go down that rabbit hole. So like Steven, with your charcoal thing, have you been watching anybody on stuff like that, or you think you might be the first to do this?
Well, I've never seen anyone do that. I just I've heard about it, but I've never seen anyone do that. And like I said, I've gone to locations before that I've been there, and I see the charts like, oh, I'm going to take it because it's going to help me start the fire much easier. But this one, I intentionally covered it up.
Yeah.
And I really thought I was going to be able to get out today, but so now it's going to be February. But that's something I'm looking forward to. But I've not seen anyone do that per se.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it either. Now, how about you, Dan? You've had a. Go ahead, Mark.
I was saying I've pulled charcoal out of an existing fire pit and made a fire with it. I just pulled it out, broke it up, hit it with a ferro rod, and went right up.
Yeah.
Now,
So
have you ever noticed?
I just pulled it. I just pulled it right out of the fire.
Have you Did you notice if it was from hardwood or softwood? You got any clue?
Well, we mostly have softwoods here in Washington, so it's mostly pines.
Should take a spark pretty well. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hardwood. It's going to be harder. When I start dicking around, so it's a struggle with the fact that when I'm over land, etc., it's because I want to be out doing that activity and a trip. It seems the biggest challenge I only do the trip to do the video. I've seen that, and you know what? I've been losing interest in some of those videos.
Yeah, you're lucky I bring a camera along when I'm doing my stuff.
It's hard.
Sometimes I don't even turn it on, so it's like, no, I'm still out here for the same reason.
Yeah, if you're always filming, then you can't get around as far. But I've even noticed though, is like if it's like for a while, I went through a phase of recording my entire hike, and I go back and it even bores me. So like 30 seconds to a minute of hiking, but let's get to the activities. What I'm doing now,
Right?
So lots of vehicles, cameras, drones, etc. Seems to me take the joy of the activity. I was toying with the drone thing as I'm walking along, having it up there. The angle's something to play with. I don't know.
On that, in my first videos, I was taking 3 and 4 cameras and setting them up.
Yeah.
So I had 3 and 4 different angles, including one that was attached to my head. So when I come home and I'd be doing all my editing, I had 4 sets of video to sort through to pick out the good video to put in. Now, most of the times when I go, I just take 1 camera, maybe 2.
Yeah, the angle is tough.
Take 2.
Yeah, you take 2. You take 2. But anybody else take more than 1?
This one has better. This one takes better photographs.
Yeah.
I usually take 3. I got my GoPro, my phone, and my drone.
Okay.
Most of the time, I don't always use them, but that's the way I do it.
I don't have
All right. Devil Dog's got a pitch. They've got a rendezvous in Houston here in next year. You can pitch your own time. That sounds interesting. What time of year are we talking about there, Devil Dog? Is it this time? And I'm out of panel space there, buddy. So I'd bring you up, but I'm going with the free version of StreamYard right now. Although I did they gave me that $10 offer back in December, and I didn't take it. Now I'm kind of regretting that decision.
If you go back into that email and send it back to them, and say, "Hey, I just found this email," they'll give it to you.
Gotcha. Well, Devil, not sure how well. Let me know, because this year, I don't know if you guys know it, my daughter is engaged, and So June 2nd.
Congratulations.
So Johnny is spending some. Yes,
Congrats.
and he's a good one. That guy. He did the boy, not just the Boy Scouts, but he's like he's let's say he's patient. He's waiting. He actually approached me and asked for my permission.
Oh,
So
you turn him down right off the bat.
Well, the
right?
others were scared off.
I thought about it because I was like, it's like he knew I threw tomahawks. I'm like from a pretty good range too. So I'm like, I know where places to bury you. Nobody finds you. So anyway, what I was saying is my year right now is spending a lot of money on that, staying local, and I can't really commit to anything because as we get closer to June, there's going to be pressure to be around for that. So after that, I'm trying to get. I want to get out and do stuff. I'm actually toying with going to Korea in 2025.
Oh, nice.
I've been watching Squid Games. I don't know if you guys watched that game on Netflix, but it's a Korean series. I used to be a Korean linguist, so every time they flash the Korean writing and stuff, and I'm like, man, I used to be so good at that. And I'm like, I never went as a tourist, and I would like to hike around and camp there and see it as a tourist. So, but anyway, Devil Dog, you let us know. I mean, that's something I think it would be great to get us all YouTubers together. I'd like
I
that.
see.
Yeah.
I'm going on the 2025 cruise. That's set
Yes,
up
you've
with
been talking about
Justin.
that.
So, my extra resources that I have are getting sunk into that. So,
Right. So,
right now, that's all that's on my plate at the moment, and that's all I can take.
Jamie from Lower Michigan Adventure, he's been listening
Hey,
up
Jamie.
there. Jamie's been doing some good stuff out there, reviews. It's kind of neat to see Jamie, your channel, your videos are coming along, brother. I'm loving to see everybody's evolution as we get better at being filmmakers and stuff. So I was curious about the camera thing. Some of you guys do one like me. Some of you do multiple ones. So what's your rationale? I was like, is it that it's easier to just film it once, prep it ahead of time? Or is it like Mark? I think you said quality of still pictures. I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, this camera here is my primary for video, the Canon. So it's what I use.
Let me bigify it.
So I use this Canon. I got a video on my channel going over all my gear. So
yeah,
camera gear. So it's what I shoot primarily most of my videos with. So, but it depends because if it's raining, I'll take this Nikon because it's waterproof.
Mm-hmm.
It also takes better photos. So
very cool. And what about the setting up? Like I notice, let's say if you're hiking, a lot of times it takes time. You got to set up the tripod, and you got to have the old walking by effect, or you got to do I record my feet? What are you guys thoughts on that?
Don't make videos. Don't understand how much of a pain in the ass to set up camera. And I had it behind me. Where is it?
Now, Steven, you're in the woods. Go ahead. Yeah.
You make sure it's level. You gotta make sure it sounds on. You gotta try not to double punch the record button, which I do.
Start over.
How many times do I do that? Hit the record, and then I go and I look back and I say,
it's not even running.
I didn't even record that.
That's happened to me so many times. I get out there and I get the fire lit. I look at the camera and it's still not recording. I'm like, oh shit.
On I've done the other way too. Go to turn it off, record, and it turns it on.
Turns it on.
I've got all this useless footage because I didn't even know the camera was on.
People don't. I've dumped so much footage. I've done
but one thing.
How about lighting? Oops, I think you're losing me.
No.
All right, did I disappear for a minute?
No, you're good.
Yeah,
Because all of you guys disappeared for a minute, and I'm like, is it me or them?
Oh no, that was your. If only one person spins and disappears, it's them. If everybody disappears off the screen and you're still there, it's you.
Yeah, that's why I was like, oh man, I just got a letter, Johnny. It's not you, it's me. Oh, but how about lighting? How many times have you guys, you're recording it and all you get is shadows and stuff? You're like, dang, I gotta go change
Yep.
the angle.
Or the
Oh,
glare on the
I
lens.
always do natural lighting, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my main camera is this, which is a Canon.
Uh-huh.
But I've got
Yeah, I use it.
a
Oh,
little camera box, and I've got my Speed Pro, which is waterproof.
What were you gonna say, Stephen?
yeah, I use a GoPro
Okay.
9. And the thing that I found out is that I always carry like 4 batteries.
Mhm.
So now I carry a pouch and I keep the batteries under my clothes because, and sometimes they'll say you have 40%, 46, or let's say 30% left. As soon as I see the yellow light indicator come on, I change batteries. I don't take a chance because
Smart man.
yeah, so,
Mhm.
yeah, that's happened to me before.
How about you, Dan? You go out for days on end.
Yeah, honestly, man, my phone is my go-to. It's a pain in the butt, as you guys know, to like take footage and upload them onto with whatever software and all that shit. So 9 times out of 10, I just record on the phone because it's all there, and I just edit it on my phone too, which is good because sometimes the nature of my work means I may not be at home, right? So it's convenient as well to be able to edit off the phone. But I do like the GoPro. I gotta hand it to you, Johnny, though, that the drones, like you talked about, I had a buddy use his drone on our last ice fishing video, and he did some real cool aerial shots. And then everyone in the comments were like, "Oh, Dan, really love what you did with the drone." I was like, "That ain't my drone. Now I feel like I gotta go find a drone."
Go get one.
I was like, "Damn it! Could you not have said that no one? If no one would have commented on the drone, I might have been a little happier." But
Right.
yeah. And then the other thing that a lot of guys are getting into, especially with fishing, is the like underwater cameras, right? Where they
Yeah.
drop the camera underwater and do a lot of cool stuff too, right? So I think like with anything, right? And I think that dicking around outdoors kind of alluded to it. You can get overdone though with the camera angles, right? And then all of a sudden it just becomes sort of like excessive, like maybe using too much seasoning in a recipe dish, right?
Yeah.
So I think you kind of got to do everything, to its own degree. But yeah, most of the time I use the phone, but the only kicker with the phone is like, then you're also killing your phone. So bye-bye, phone, bye-bye
Right.
compass, potentially, bye-bye backup flashlight, bye-bye everything else.
Your
But
map
I mean,
and everything. Yeah.
100%. But I mean, with the little chargy battery packs, they go a long way to just throw a few of those in the bag. But I find that, for me, again, October to February, the batteries, and I don't have a GoPro brand one. I have like the Akaso action cam thing. And again, same story as you though, Steven. Those batteries just die so damn quick. Like I pull it out of the backpack, turn it on, and it's flashing the like dead light before I've even used it for anything. So yeah, that's the frustrating part.
All right, one of you guys, go ahead. I was going to say one of you guys have got to get the endorsement. Like have somebody a Jackery or something. Have them send it to you to test it out. Whatever, yes, please.
Your talks about your phone going dead. I've had that problem too, where I've been going down into walking around using your phone for different things.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought about one of these?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got one like that.
I've been thinking about a small.
I hooked this on the back of my backpack. This little panel. I hooked it to the back of my backpack. While I'm walking, I plugged in my phone. My phone was on 20%. I walked for about an hour in the sun, and my phone was at 80%.
Yeah.
Wow. So it charged it up really well. This was a very cheap solar panel. I think I only paid like $10 for this or something.
Nice.
So I got it real cheap. Didn't come with any cords or anything, but as a USB, it's just straight USB. So it worked perfectly for what I wanted to work for. And that was one of the things when I was looking at going into the solar power was I got this because it was cheap, and I said I wanted to see if it would actually work. Mm-hmm. And it did. And it's great now whenever I go out. This is always in my backpack now whenever I go out because you're always using your phone for something that's always draining. So it's great to be able to have a full battery by the time you're done.
See, I love that. I was experimenting with a different solar panel, and it wasn't charging like that because that's what I want. I want to be able to stay longer, extend your stay.
Yeah.
That looks like a really good purchase there, Al. Now, hey,
now it's solid. It's not flexible. Like it's a little flexible, but it's not.
Sure. So you got to be careful where you put it in your pack, but still,
Well, the thing is,
that's light.
it is. There's nothing to this. The cord is actually heavier than the panel.
Yeah.
So the thing is everybody, most all backpacks now got the spot to put the platypus in.
Right.
That's where this goes in.
That's
When I
kind of
get
where I
up
put
on
like.
top of the hills, clip it on the back and go on.
See, that's what I do with the firebox. I like that. I mean, I like that little section. That's what I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
But
my
yeah, when you're
grill
staying
goes in
put,
mine.
there you go. Yeah. So it's a great way to extend your stay, get that electricity. Now, Dicking Around Outdoors has got some good questions here. He's talking about helping to keep our channel growing and stay relevant. He's like, should we get on board with the drone thing? Because do we want to make our audience feel like they're coming out there with us? I think there's a lot of that. And I also think there's got to be, you got to know yourself.
Mm-hmm.
That's been my bit. I'm like, what do people seem to pay attention to? Because I can't pretend I'm Dave Canterbury. You know,
No,
I'm going
no.
to teach you guys bushcrafting, but I'm a
I
silly
try
guy
to.
that cooks good food.
I just try to talk to the camera like it's somebody sat there next to me.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Not talk to it like it's an inanimate thing. It's not. It's your audience.
Right.
So one of the comments that I usually get is it's great that the way I do my videos is because it makes you feel like you're there with me.
Right.
The drones and stuff like that are great and they're good, but you got to be very careful with drones now because there's a lot of laws put in place against them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can't even launch mine where I'm at.
No.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No,
Yeah.
right next to a military base, can't launch it.
Oh man.
Oh.
All right. So, what do you guys think? I mean, I almost want to feel like we ought to do like have interview type nights on. You know, it's like let's learn about this channel. But while we're chit
I like
chatting,
that idea, actually.
yeah, I mean, just get to
Mhm.
know kind of like Tom Garvey or Tom Gravy, as he's been called, and Mike. They have different guests that they talk about. So I'm like, it would be kind of neat to get to know each other. But let's go around and just say what you think it is. Now, Dan, you're in the upper right hand corner. You're first. I know he's like, if you're into outdoor adventures at MRE, click like and subscribe. But what do you think is your niche? I mean, what have you figured out about yourself and your vids?
Well, okay. I'll try not to ramble because I could potentially. So, my niche is at the end of the day, I'm doing this as a time capsule for me. And that's got to be the most important component of it. Because some videos get 24 views. Sometimes you get more than that. At the end of the day, I got to do it for this guy. So, the biggest, I think my niche is like, I'm the outdoors dad who's bringing along his snack squad to do shit every single weekend. And, sometimes that thing around that we may do might just be sitting around the table crushing an MRE, if it's minus 36. But I love for me, there's always something to do seasonally. So I know that I might lose people along the way, right? Like I might lose the fishermen when the hunting season starts, or I might lose the hunters when the ice fishing season starts, or with whatever that looks like. But you know what, man? I'm doing this for me. So that's kind of where it comes around. Because I think if there's a day where I am not doing this for me, I do believe that an audience will know that. There is a pretty popular bushcrafter who kind of started a lot of YouTube, a Canadian guy. I'm sure you all know Joe Robinette, right? And I hope I'm not, maybe Joe will watch this. I don't know. Johnny, I don't know if you got a beat on Joe Robinette, but in some of his videos, man, you could just tell that the passion and the enjoyment had just deteriorated away, where it's like he's out there cleaning the garage because his wife forced him. And it becomes like a not fun thing to watch. So I don't know. I think first and foremost for me and my channel, it's like, I chase the seasons. I bring the boys along in tow. It's a time capsule. So I am growing as they grow. And I think that that's going to create, something that's, important to me for all else. Right. And then, like I said, someday when I kick the bucket, I'll have a pretty cool time capsule of me saying, hi, my name is Dan. And they can, cobble that together into a pretty cool AI thing, maybe, or something, Johnny, if you're going to get morbid with it. But at the end of the day, man, that's it. That's kind of what my niche is, man. Yeah, I would say.
Very cool. that really resonates with me. My wife and I talking about if it's an organic channel or not.
Mhm.
Because like I started with Joe Robinette, and
Mhm.
yeah, he lost that. He really did lose that.
Mhm.
There was another through hiker. I've recently gone back to her, wandering out. No, not wandering out. Yeah, there. Her trail name is Daisy. God, I forgot her
Homemade
channel name.
Wanderlust.
Huh?
Homemade Wanderlust.
That's her. Yeah. So I started watching her for her first trip through the Appalachian Trail, and I really loved it because you really got a sense of her experiencing it. Then she became the experienced trail hiker and started. it- She changed her messaging. Now, obviously, it's successful because she's grown so much. But it kind of turned me off for a while. Now I've gone back to her again because she is so experienced. I can learn from her. Um, but yeah, it's like I'm thinking about. It, I'm like, you want to be successful, but at the same point authentic. So I get exactly what you're talking about there, Dan.
Mhm.
Um, so I'm like, huh, what does success bring if we were to grow? So, uh,
Mhm.
Mark, you're right here, going right to left, top. So you're next. Talk to me, brother.
What is my niche? I don't know. I was thinking about that while I was listening to Dan, but I just go out and do my thing, and I just try to have fun with it.
Mhm.
So I mean, I'm not trying to sell anything. I don't have an Amazon store. I don't have a website with gear. I'm not trying to push a buck. Just making the videos and help people enjoy them.
Hmm. So do you really have to put much thought into it, or is just your natural approach? Going out there.
I don't rehearse any of my videos. They're all just shoot from the hip.
Okay.
I have a rough idea when I get out there. I think I have a rough idea what I'm going to say, but sometimes that idea changes, and that's the video you get. Sometimes it's not perfect, but I never claim to be.
Gotcha.
Mm.
And Stephen, what about your
Okay.
channel? What do you think works? Go ahead.
What works for me is that mine is I really want to focus on bushcrafting and surviving. One of the things that I try to stress that is so important is building a shelter and being able to not only make a fire but sustain the fire. So when I light that fire, it's not going to go out until I decide to put it out. Now, I want to I like to show that it's going to take a lot of wood. You're going to have to expend a lot of energy. There's this thing about having 3 days without water, which is possible, but how comfortable are you going to be after half a day expending that much energy? So with gathering wood, processing wood, making sure you have a shelter, and most of all having a fire, it's that's just the beginning of actually bushcrafting, prepping, and surviving. Because then comes along, you're gonna have to learn navigation, you're gonna have to learn foraging, trapping, fishing, hunting. So it's almost never ending. But I want people to understand that if you ever have to go out, if you ever have to leave your residence, at least you know you can survive.
All right.
You don't want to throw yourself into some survival situation. Walk methodically, walk slow. So mine is about actually being able to survive in the bush.
So I think my signal is getting weak. Can you guys hear me? Okay.
I can
Yep.
hear
Yeah.
you.
Okay. All
You've
right.
frozen on my end in terms of your appearance, but we can hear you.
Okay. Gotcha. Um, so Stephen, like you're having some really good growth right now. I mean, I saw that you
Thank
got
you.
to talk on a new radio. Your subscriber
Yes.
counts up. Your view counts are up. Have you noticed? Figured out what works best for you when you're doing your recording? Do you have to put a lot of thought into it, or is it just kind of come natural to you?
It kind of comes natural, but I think my views are higher on when I'm outdoors as opposed to doing reviews inside. I think people like actually seeing me being out there doing it. Um, because I said, it's hard for me to actually do a review or live, because I'm the type, I have to have hands on. I have to be able to, like when I'm walking in and I have a walking staff, there's a reason that I have that walking staff, because it's going to allow me to have at least 2 points of contact on the ground at all times. It's going to help me keep predators at bay at night if necessary. So I think my views are higher on me being actually out in the bush as opposed to doing reviews inside. And that's what I like being in. I like being outside more so. And I'll do a review when I can't get out. But my joy, and another thing, my joy is being in the bush and being up all night, because as much as I can, because when you put that much effort into harvesting and processing fire, I don't think there's anything that's more beautiful than seeing that fire and hearing it. And I can't go to sleep. I put too much effort into that. So I may be sleeping like 10 minutes an hour, I just want to see that fire. I want to
There
see
you
the
go.
and I like hearing the birds at 6 o'clock in the morning. So
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It's like we used to call it survival TV at survival school. You just
yeah,
get lost in the flames. All right.
yeah.
Anybody else experience that? Whereas like you notice your views outdoors versus indoors? Any change in the viewership?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
always outdoors.
yeah,
Tony
you are.
wouldn't know. Yeah, Tony doesn't have that issue.
Yeah. But yeah, it is interesting. You got to do what you can when you can. And I'm kind of with Dan as far as I do this for my enjoyment.
Yep.
It's more like mental health for me. I have too many squirrels running around in my head. And so I question like, so it's a chance to be creative. The interaction keeps me, I'm like, how do I behave myself? I'm like, don't always say, it's like there's inside voice, outside voice. But at the end of the year, like I just did a review, you might notice I'll do a 30-second plug at the beginning of a video.
Mhm.
Well, I put several of those together, and that turned into a nice little video collage for me to say, wow, that was a really cool year, you know?
Oh
And so, and a
yeah,
lot of times I'm like, people might not watch this, but I will. I really like this.
yeah. That was nice. It was
Yeah.
really nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, all right. So, Al, you've been sitting there patiently, brother. What's been your evolution? What do you think is
Well,
your
I
view?
started out with just going out on my step to do some little bushcrafty stuff. And from there, I went to going to the woods, to doing some farming, to doing some solar stuff, to projects, to traps, to I ended up spreading out over this whole little variety of stuff. So mostly it's bushcraft
Right.
and bushcraft things, but it's more a variety of everything else. Um, One of the big things that I look at with it is I've been learning the whole while I'm going. Like I don't know it all. I don't claim to know anything. I don't claim to be a teacher on anything because we all got something to learn. No matter who you are and what you know, is you can always learn something new. And that's the way I always looked at it is if I can learn something from watching other videos or being out and doing stuff, hey, great.
Right.
If people can take away something from my channel, one of the biggest things I think I would like for people to take away would be enjoy nature for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
When you get out into the middle of the woods and you sit down and you don't make a sound and you watch all the little animals and birds and everything start coming towards you instead of running away from you, that's where I find it's the most, I don't know if you call it a magical thing or an included thing. You feel more included in nature. You feel like you're a part of a bigger whole.
Right.
And I do these videos for me. I don't really do them for, like, I'm not doing videos for anyone else. I'm doing them for me primarily because I sit down. Even Nicole says to me, how can you sit down and watch your videos? I was like, because I like them.
Yeah.
Because it's me and it's stuff I was doing and stuff I'm remembering, and I'm looking at it saying, "Hey, I could do that better now." Right? And it's just a way to, I think, share an experience with everyone.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Who all watches their own videos just for joy? Go back. You don't, Stephen? You don't
No,
do
I
that?
don't. Yeah, it's what I really don't. I don't know. I don't know why, but sometimes I look. It's like, oh, I could. I'm always when I do. It's like I could have done better. Why
Right.
didn't I mention this?
Yep.
I
We're
should
our
have did.
worst critic. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
You're your worst critic, yes, but if you're sat down watching it again, originally you didn't sit down to watch it and criticize yourself.
Well,
Yeah.
it's funny. Just the thing to add to that, though. At the time that you're watching it after, you know, you've lived it. You've went through the footage once. You've went through the footage twice. You went through the footage. You put it together. You've uploaded it. You've watched it again. So you probably watched it 16 times by the time you then sit down and actually enjoy it and watching it. But I find that, you know, for me anyways, I probably wouldn't watch it right away, but I do like to go back and watch them afterwards, right? To kind of just reflect on the stuff that you did or whatever.
Yeah.
I think it is fun to look back at the stuff we've accomplished, because there's a lot of accomplishments in these 6 boxes on the screen, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you ever take down any videos that you're like don't think are any relevant anymore?
No, they never see the light of day. I delete them before they even go.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's
It
like
either
it's
goes
so
up or it
bad,
doesn't.
the lighting is bad. I did
Yeah.
a knife review and I kept calling it the wrong name. So I just deleted the whole thing. I'm like, yeah, I can't post this. It's just too shitty.
Yeah.
Now, the only videos I've ever deleted off of my channel were way back in the very beginning of my channel. I had old game videos and just a couple of little short videos of nothing that was up that had no relevance on my actual when I actually started putting out videos. Those ones I deleted. The rest of it, I don't think I've ever taken down a video.
Yeah, I took when I was doing Slingshot Sunday, Fired Up Fridays, Tomahawk Tuesdays. I was like, they were fun adventure, but eventually I'm like, this is not my channel. So I took them all down, and now I might do a Tomahawk video or something like that, just to kind of throw it out there. But I was like, eventually I was like, let's make it easier for YouTube. What is Johnny's channel about? And so they can kind of put it out there and narrow my focus. But I don't know. It's maybe it was a mistake. I don't know, but my viewership's been going up. So, but anyway, all right. And Al, did you have more you want to talk about as far? Oh,
I think I'm good.
if you do watch Al's videos, he will sit there and literally just sit there and like wait for the birds. You know.
There's one of my videos I did that. You know, I sat in the woods. I wanted to show people because one thing that I did, I went into a group of people, and it wasn't outdoors people. It was just regular people that were up on the panel, and I said to them, "Listen, you got access to the woods? Yes. Okay. Well, go do this. You don't have to go far into the woods. Just go in, sit down, shut up, and be quiet and stay still and listen and watch what happens."
Yeah.
And on one of my videos, I went down and I done it, and I had the camera set up, and then of course I went through the time lapse. This is 10 minutes after. This is a half an hour after. This is an hour after, and you can literally see all of the birds starting to get closer and closer to the point that they were landing right above my head. But of course, when they're landing on a tree there, I couldn't grab the camera and show because they all scatter. But just sitting there, the smaller animals start coming in first. Once the smaller animals are comfortable, then larger animals will start coming around. But that was a point that I was trying to get across to people is, hey, just go sit down and look at what you're missing.
Right. And that's kind of, I'm like, I think we're all like that, encouraging people to get outdoors. The why.
Yeah.
And Tony, you're not last, but certainly not least. Tell us about your niche and what have you kind of gotten out of this YouTube experience?
Well, I'm kind of with Dan on the fact that I started doing this so I could share it with me and my family, people that can't get out and do most of the stuff that we do. You know, there's a lot of people that can't, so they enjoy watching the videos for sure.
Right.
And yeah, I go back and look at some of my older videos and oh boy, that was horrible. But I'm not doing that kind of pathetic content anymore. But I don't pull them down. It's still part of the evolution of my channel is me. And I started out just going out the weekends camping and stuff like that. Now I'm full time on Nomad, so I'm always out and about.
Right.
I'm not always filming though. Like you say, sometimes the camera interferes with the journey.
Oh, totally.
And even when I do go out, I do really short clips. Turn the camera on, show it around, talk to it a little bit. Then it comes to editing. It's a lot easier to edit through a short bunch of clips than it is a whole camera's been on for 6 hours. Now I got to go through all that and make 30-minute video.
Right. It's time consuming. I'm going to probably post a video of my trip to Florida because from last year, I just never got around to it. I'm like, you know what? Instead of going out, let's vacation to warm land. But it's got lots of footage of dolphins and restaurants and forts
Cool.
and stuff. So I'm like, oh, this is going to be like very time intensive. And I was like, how do I piece it down? So editing is a fair amount of work. That is for sure. So, so you guys, I mean, I'm thinking, I wish we could get more of these types of discussions here. I'm like, everybody does their own lives, but what are our thoughts? What are our schedules? If we were going to start saying weekly or bi-weekly little interviews, things, what works best for you guys if we were going to try more gatherings like this?
Well, it doesn't have to be the same people all the time.
Yeah.
As long as someone's willing to host. Like I may be called into work on a weekend. Like I was working on last weekend.
Yeah, it's in. I may be in Texas or yeah.
Well, that's like me and Johnny were talking about earlier before we even went live was time constraints on stuff. And over the summers, my summer gone was completely up in the air for me. My videos, everything.
Yeah.
Tony can even attest to this. I was hardly on YouTube at all.
Yep.
So as far as it goes for picking a day to do a weekly or even a bi-weekly, it's hit or miss for everybody, really.
Yeah.
But we can say, okay, Sunday, if we're not busy on Sundays.
Yeah, what I was
jump in.
What I was thinking is, because we each have different people in our lives, there's some overlap. But what if we said, let's take turns in the month of February, Dan or Steven, could you say, hey, I'm going to get a friend up on the panel on a certain day, and we're going to discuss some different topics and get to know a little bit there. And of course, you can open up the panel and stuff. But what do you guys think about something like that? Too formal?
Too tight?
Yeah, we're so formal.
Yeah. I couldn't say. My schedule is so unpredictable. It's I don't know. It's
Yeah, Johnny, like it's so funny because for a long time I was trying to do lives pretty consistently. I was trying to knock out do one a month, right? And a lot of channels, even both you guys, both you, Al and Johnny, you guys were both doing a real great job of having the regularly scheduled, consistent time. And I think that format is way better. Like if you can do that, by all means, those are great. I'm kind of with Steven that my schedule is like with the boys in their sports. I mean, my kids play football, dude, 11 months a year. They have practices, games, all that stuff. You layer in work, you layer in me trying to do outdoor stuff, you layer in those other family commitments. And I mean, my favorite, sometimes I shouldn't say my favorite thing, I shouldn't wish away a pandemic, but dude, back in the day when we didn't have any of that stuff, there's a little bit of I would have said, yes, sign me up. I got nothing going on, but it's all of a sudden exploded again, right? But I do think that it's great. Like, I think if we could find some sort of I don't know whether they're pop-ups or whether kind of with what you did today of just like reaching out and saying, hey guys, who's available? But I love this concept. It's so fun to be able to chat with you guys. I think it's great to be able to share our community kind of just through a wider net. Like Tony, I don't know you very well. I don't know if you and I have ever really had a chance to kind of connect on a panel like this before. So
No,
it's
I think
interesting.
first, yeah.
Yeah, so it's really interesting, like to meet new people and kind of chat to folks in this kind of light, right? So I love the idea, Johnny. I just don't know about the execution
Right.
from my perspective. But I mean,
Yeah.
you have my attention any minute I can because this has been great. But I also probably should say I smell bacon upstairs, so I'm probably gonna have to beeline here soon because it is getting kind of hungry, boys.
Yeah,
But
yeah, my internet. Yeah.
We're losing
See,
Johnny
I think I
again.
just lost you guys again. I think my
In the-
internet's
in the
getting a little
process
sketchy
of
with the
the-
weather, so we'll wrap things.
In the process of
Go ahead,
Johnny
Al.
telling us his internet is bad, we lose him.
Yeah, I know, right? Great thing. So it's like, am I back? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I mean, like I do my Wednesday lives. I've always done my Wednesday lives, and over the summer I wasn't doing my Wednesday lives on a regular basis because of stuff that was going on. But now I'm back to my regular Wednesday lives every week. I do it, and it's a consistency thing. It's trying to keep it consistent, trying to keep it on the same time, so people know. Okay, well, at this time of the day on Wednesday, Al is on.
Right. And I'm thinking
And
about it. Go ahead.
oh, and if I know it's the time I goes on is usually around supper time or just after work for people, so I know it's not going to be easy for everybody to get on. But hey, if you make it, you make it. If you don't, you don't. That's just the way it is.
Right.
But that's I think with this, the way we're doing, the way Johnny wants to do this here is probably going to have to go something similar. Whereas, like say Johnny, I know you're working every weekday now. So on the weekends, if we're going to do the pop up on the weekend, and whoever's around, just come on in.
That's kind of what I think we might have to do that because you know me, even though with my new schedule, I'm still going to hit the gym 3 days a week. And so I'm still going to be cooking. I'm still going to be doing outdoor stuff. So as we're talking, I'm thinking, I like this idea of interacting. I just don't get enough time to talk to you guys.
Yeah.
So maybe I just kind of keep sending out some emails. And what I might do in the offer is like, hey, if you can you bring one friend?
Yeah.
I'll reach out to somebody and say, hey, can you bring a friend and then get some, and hopefully we'll get, maybe I'll spend more money on the StreamYard and maybe we can have more on panel. But we'll see. But yeah, I think we've been on this for a couple hours and my internet has been sketchy. So probably, and I know you got bacon there, Dan. So how about, I'd say we probably ought to start heading out here shortly. Anybody want to give any heads up projects, videos you got coming out or something new you put out that you want to get everybody's attention for? Anybody?
My video drops are on Mondays, always.
Yeah, I'm just going to do something on the bushcraft essential tools because, when I learn something, I want to share it.
Yes.
I think this is really, really important. It's not about just having a good knife or good saw. These are essential tools that you really need when you go out into the bush.
Right.
So that's what I want to express.
Right. Yeah. And you're doing I'm loving the evolution. You're getting
Thank you.
smoother and smoother about that, Stephen. So, all right, Mark, you got a new video that you wanted to talk about?
Tomorrow I got a new shout out coming up.
Okay.
And then, cast iron Wednesday and Wednesday. So.
There we go. And what's this month for cast iron?
It's chilly, but I did something different.
Okay. Tony?
Oh, nothing right away. Maybe next week. I know I got a live probably tomorrow, but I've been joining a wandering monk for Monday's lives, and it's been kind of fun.
Hey, SD Mountain Man, Scott, how you doing, brother? Yeah, I will. What am I doing here? I think I'll post a video from Florida last week. Eventually, I'm going to do another Firebox hike and cook. It's going to probably be meatballs with a mushroom sauce and probably some crusty bread to just kind of sop it up, So got to have the finger up. So I was like, style. But I love the monthly hiking cooks. I like to have a special meal once a month just for fun. So
I do that when I'm eating Vienna sausages.
yeah, you do. So, but that's when I've been noticing Firebox likes what I'm doing, so I get views on that. Kelly Kettle people hate me, but they keep watching my videos on it, talking about
That's perfect then.
it. They hate me, but I'm like, well, I was honest about it. So,
Too
but
honest. That's the problem.
well, they keep wanting me to say what I mean. They'll say like, your fire skills suck. You need to work on it. I'm like, really? Really? Okay. But I'd say my style is I'm goofy and be honest and just go out and have fun. So don't be a know-it-all. So that's me. But anyway, we should wrap things up. Guys, it's been a great fun 2 hours here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really appreciate all of you guys giving us some time. And I'll see if I can we can try to arrange something again over the upcoming weeks. But Stephen, you have a great trip down to
Okay,
Texas,
thank
you
you.
said.
Yes, Texas.
Mark, Dan, enjoy that bacon. Mark, I hope you make it to the park. Al, stay warm. Tony, hope that RV's still running.
Oh yeah.
All right. All right. We are out of here at 3, 2, 1, and
Alrighty.
done.
Take care.
See ya, everybody.
Alrighty. Bye.
Gotta get that